Alright, so, in 2003, in Erie, Pennsylvania, in the butt crack of nowhere, basically, Erie, Pennsylvania is about the size of Marquette. So picture this story taking place in Marquette.
It's on Lake Erie, right?
Yes, it's on Lake Erie. A man named Brian Wells was a pizza delivery man at Mamma Mia's Pizzeria, the local pizza joint. Slinging Zaz, having a normal day. They get a phone call.
Do we have confirmation this is a real pizzeria?
This is a real pizza.
Yeah, it's a real pizzeria.
It's a real place.
Make sure.
You still can get pizza there. Okay. They get a pizza. They get an order. The owner tries to take the order, but he cannot understand the man. So he hands off the phone to the late Brian Wells. He writes down the address in his handwriting. The address is to a radio tower just 5 miles away. He leaves for the delivery and is gone for over 2 hours. Nobody knows where he is, he just disappears. But the next thing anyone knows, he just shows up on the breaking news, robbing the PNC Bank, which is the local bank, comparable to First Bank here, right? He goes in there wearing a Guess t-shirt, a shirt that his family says is not his. Oh, under the shirt, there's a large lump. Nobody knows what it is. He slides the teller a note. The teller gives the code for a bank robbery and starts handing him money. In the notes, it says he's supposed to get $250,000, but they only have about $8,000 in the bank.
Because they can't open the vault.
They can't open the vault because it was locked, right? So he gets the $8,000, starts making his way out, gets in his car, drives a block away until the police pull him out. They get him down there, they cuff him up, they see the weird lump under his shirt, so they slice the shirt, and they see that there's a collar bomb strapped around his neck. Alright? Those collar bombs are only used by the Colombian drug cartels when they want to send a message, right? And, picture a more terrifying way to die than with a bomb strapped like a handcuff around your neck, right? So,
That is pretty terrible.
yeah, right?
That kind of really suck.
That would be a bad day. So we got Brian sitting out in front of the cop cars right now. He's sitting there, starts beeping, right? Starts freaking out, saying, oh, it's gonna go off. Next thing he knows, bam! Dead. Bomb goes off, bleeds out and dies. Blows a massive hole in his chest. Bam! Dead. Dead forever. No comeback. He's dead.
Can we confirm that he has died?
He's very dead.
I wish.
This isn't no Tupac living in Cuba. Okay. He's dead.
I don't know, man. I think Tupac's living in Cuba.
That's time for another video.
That's a different topic, but not today. We'll get to that.
Please, that was already covered by Carson Chase.
Yeah, it's alright.
Please,
okay.
Please.
So, after he's dead, right, the cops search his car, and they find 8 pages of notes. Now, these aren't your average pages of notes. These are the most detailed entire sheets filled with instructions. So what the police can gather is Brian went to the radio tower and the bomb was strapped around his neck, and they gave him these notes and told him he will die unless he gets the $250,000.
It was like, act now, think later, or you will die.
Yeah, so
Sounds pretty whack.
I don't understand how they didn't think the police would get involved. He did rob a bank.
Well, wasn't it thought that they didn't really want him to have a chance to live from the beginning?
Right before Brian died, the only thing he would give about who put the collar on him was, quote, a group of black men. Not being racist, that's what he said, end quote.
But he might have been
to blow up,
racist.
and then he died.
Then, okay, so after he blew up and dead, alright, the police find the notes. They start reading through the notes, alright? In the notes, there is a scavenger hunt. And it says the only way to take that thing off is to go to several named locations, find keys to type in the combination lock, and the bomb should just pop off, right? Except closer examination of that bomb, it never was never made to come off. Whoever made that bomb and whoever got it put on them they were going to die.
Well, it was made so that if he got 2 of the cats,
You
would
got
have
time
been able
tonight?
to.
I do have.
Hey, y'all remember Brian?
Yeah.
Go in there,
They
big
said
yo.
that
What's
the,
up with Brian?
Yeah,
They find
I
the
haven't
first
seen him in a while.
location, which is under a
was
rock
like
at the
15 years
flower
ago.
bed.
Yeah, exactly.
And under it is the step. Go watch the location. But then once
Brian,
it goes
you
there,
good?
trail goes cold.
Brian, you
No
good?
more
What's up?
steps.
How's your ma?
All right.
Your cat's all right?
So now the trail's cold. Brian's dead. They don't know what's going on. So they start looking into stuff. Brian Wells, as described by his landlord as the perfect tenant, right? He was a shut-in that didn't associate with anyone except his coworkers and his mom and his 3 cats. His boss describes him as the perfect worker that only called in late once because one of his cats died and he had to mourn the death of his cat. He would reportedly go and take his mother out to the movies. That would be the only thing he did. This is the most secluded, boring person you could ever think of. Alright?
The little delay there is what.
He kind of sounds like my cousin. Not important.
Our first suspect, William Rothstein. He's about 6'6", speaks multiple languages, and is a hoarder. He is a high school shop teacher, which would give him the ability and the tools to make said bomb.
The reason why they even got Rothstein in the first place was that he called the police and told them he had a body in the freezer, right? The body was the boyfriend of Marjorie Deal Armstrong, the second suspect. Now, Rothstein and Marjorie Deal Armstrong, they know each other because Rothstein was twice engaged to Marjorie. So that means they have a pretty close relationship, right? So when Marjorie had the dead body of her boyfriend, she asked Rothstein as a favor to keep it in his freezer. When Marjorie asked him if he could grind up the body in an ice grinder, which apparently hiding the body's fine, but grinding up is too far.
Yeah.
So he felt guilty and then called the police and told them everything about the body. Which leads us to our main second suspect, which people believe to be the mastermind of the whole operation, Marjorie Deal Armstrong. Harley.
Second suspect, Marjorie Deal Armstrong. Narcissist. Hoarder as well. History of mental illness, mania, and several other incidents involving police.
To give you a little bit more background on this woman, when the police tried to investigate her house, they opened the front door and they needed hazmat hazard suits to go inside. It was just completely filled with dog crap and garbage. It was basically picture the grossest house you could ever think of and then put a dumpster inside of it.
Just watch the show Hoarders.
Watch Hoarders and picture just dog crap everywhere.
Just watch Hoarders.
Yeah, you ever watch some of those houses that you got? They have like different layers, like how they teach you like sedimentary rock and fossils.
Different-
They find layers of dead cats.
I've seen those ones. Those ones
Yeah.
are horrifying.
Different layers
There
of
was
dog.
one
You'll
where they
find like
found
flattened
there was
cats.
one where they found 15 dead cats in the house.
That's a good one.
I remember that one. Some of them were like
So one of Marjorie's old classmates in high school described her as thinking she's one of those folks that think she's smarter and slicker and brighter than everybody else. She's the type of person that would go insanely overboard with writing 8 pages of incredibly detailed instructions on how to rob a bank and every single step of the way.
Suspect C, a man named Kenneth Barnes, a former TV repairman turned crack dealer who supplied a woman called Jessica Hoopsick. Jessica Hoopsick was a sex worker who hung out with Brian quite a bit. But his other connection is that he also used to go fishing with Marjorie. Again, quite a bit.
Suspect D, the final suspect, is none other than Brian Wells himself. Okay, now I know what you're thinking, right? Why would Brian Wells be in on it himself? He blew up and died, right?
That is true.
That is very true. He's dead. Now, people think that he was in on it because when he entered the bank, okay, he walked in there 100% calm, just like any other day, strolls into the bank, walks in there, slides the lady a note, right? She says the code word, hands him the money. He then proceeds to put the money in a Walmart bag and grab a Dum Dum lollipop, unwrap it, pop it in his mouth, and gently walk out of the room swinging the money around like it's payday, right? Picture yourself in the mindset of I have a live bomb around my neck. Why would I be dancing around like it's payday when I'm going to blow up and die? Think about it. Why is he so calm? Because he's in on it. When the police searched Brian's house, the only thing that they could find that wasn't supposed to be there was a notebook, just like completely filled with names and phone numbers of prostitutes.
Yep.
This dude liked his women. And if you've seen pictures of this man, he is an ugly man.
Maybe we should trust
The
him.
court did determine, they said they had enough evidence to charge Brian Wells as being a part of the crime. So after he's dead, they defiled his name and said he was a part of the crime. His family firmly believes that he was not a part of it to this day.
Where are the Wells family today?
Probably still in here in Pennsylvania.
They crossed out about a word, but I know of that.
Now, to this very day, we can never get more concrete evidence against any of those four suspects. So other than Brian Wells, he's been the only one charged with anything to do with this. All the other ones are just suspects still. So I don't see this happening ever, of this case ever being solved. William Rothstein was arrested, not for the Brian Wells case, but for having a dead body in his freezer. So, he's in jail. I'm okay with that. Also, Marjorie Deal Armstrong was also arrested. She'll get out of jail in 2030. Maybe something will happen when she gets out of jail. We have to wait until then. But as of right now, this case is still unsolved.
Meme. Next meme.
Next! To give you a little bit more background on this woman, when the police tried to investigate her house, they opened the front door and they needed hazmat hazard suits to go inside. It was just completely filled with dog crap and garbage. It was basically, picture the grossest house you could ever think of and then put a dumpster inside of it.
Just watch the movie.
So what are y'all's feelings on Aurora Burnson?
Oh no. Oh, maybe I should have not came back.
Maybe we just continue where we left off.
Who had also attended school with Marjorie, described Marjorie as, quote,
A bitch.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
So one of Marjorie's old classmates in high school described her as thinking she's one of those folks that think she's smarter and slicker and brighter than everybody else. She's the type of person that would go insanely overboard with writing 8 pages of incredibly detailed instructions on how to rob a bank, and every single step of the way. Maybe
He's the killer.
There's dog crap all over my house.
No, like in the walls.
Pretty sure we still smell it.